do you have to stick what you have? I don't know the answer. I said, and also the downcast and the supporters come from the whole shenanigans, and I'm just use that word generally with the FAI appointing the manager. If he was just bad results, be bad enough. But the whole scenario, I use the term, there's a whole smell around the whole thing with the no manager for 9 months, announcing managers, and then not following through it. Then the ticket prices, where you had to buy 3 tickets to get them, because the English game, the other 2 as well, it's paying huge money for it. The whole thing seems to be on a downward. Now, I know if you got a few results, it probably melt away, but they're all piling in together. So looking forward to next month when the next 2 games between the end of the squad. What does he do, or what are your thoughts, or where do you go off?
Well, he said himself in the interviews after the game that he wants to settle the squad and he wants to pick his best team and stick with it. He wants to get combinations between the back 4 and the midfield, and he wants familiarity so the players know that this is the man that's going to be beside me, and we can build up a relationships and that stuff, and try to get a settled team, pick his best team, and stick to it. I think that's the gist of what he said. But I just gone back on the whole smell around the area of the FAI and the whole thing. He hasn't helped himself either, Paul, because I think if you give any bit of ammunition
to your critics, the manager you're talking about now, Heimer.
I think John O'Shea did the press conference before the game. Now, normally it's always the manager and the captain, shall we say, that do it.
Yeah.
But John O'Shea was the one that had to do this, the assistant manager. No, John O'Shea has been probably talking a bit. No, for assistant manager, is what I'm saying. He's probably been dealing with the media a little bit too much. You were the number one guy. You should be the man doing the press conferences. You're the one that should be taking all the questions. Now, obviously, he did the press conference after the match. I accept that. But people were sort of suspect about this appointment in the first place. You talk about the FAI. It took him a long time to get the manager in place. They said he was their number one target. A lot of people don't believe that. So you're just giving ammunition to the media and the critics that probably didn't rate you at the start for getting the job in the first place by not turning up and doing the press conference before the game. No, it's a small thing, but like you said, Paul, those little small things hammer you particularly with your critics and stuff like that. So as going forward, Paul, you need to settle the squad. There's a few players there he might think that can't do it for me anymore. He won't say it publicly, but he's had a good look at the players now over the last 8 or 9 days. They're all gone back to their clubs. Hopefully now there'll be no major injuries, of course, because you talk about young players. It all depends now on the next camp because I think we were lucky enough this camp, where we didn't have any major injuries. I think everyone reports fit and healthy. That's not always going to happen, Paul. So this thing about settled squad or settled team and trusting the person that's beside you, that doesn't always happen in international football. As we well know, there's going to be a few injuries. Now, I don't think there's any suspensions now for the next couple of the games, so that's a help as well. But going forward, Paul, we can't lose a third game in a row. I think Ramos is now maybe our second. We need results. We need I'll take a 0-0 against Finland now in the next game, or 1-1 or something. We just need to get out of Finland with something, Paul, because if we go to Finland and lose, that's 3 games where we played England, Greece, and Finland. Not England, Greece, and now Finland. If we do manage to lose that game as well, 3 games played against our 3 opponents and nothing to show for it. And that's going to be a very, very big downer on it, because in the Greece game, I feel is going to be even tougher than the Finland game, to be fair. So, where do we? Phrase?
Something just came into my head there. When he was with Jamaica, the last team, he picked the rate of what we call the granny players. There were players based in England with Jamaican heritage. Will he do the same now? Is he going to? I won't use the term the transfer market, because it's not a transfer market. But will he go now? Really deliberately go around England, scout the clubs in England to try and locate players under the granny rule and bring him in at least 3, 4, 5, 6 of them?
I think he has to, Paul. We need more quality in this team, particularly midfield. Midfield, for crying out for a creative midfield player. Now, maybe there's some players out there that have Irish connections that we aren't aware of. That's the FAI's job. That's his job to see, can we persuade him? Obviously, these players will know they're not coming into a winning team, so that might be a little bit convincing. But if they feel that Ireland is the place for them and think they can make a can contribute, by all means go for it. You know, Jack Charlton made no apologies for it in the late 80s and early 90s. So, and look, we shouldn't now either. So I think it's definitely an option that we have to. I think it's a left back at Sunderland that first believe. I don't he could be playing for the England 21s. I forget that his name escapes me now, but I think definitely a left back we should be doing it. It's an option that we need. A right back as well. You know, Coleman shoving on. Doherty's definitely not a fan's favourite at the moment. I think there's a player called Feisty. I can't pronounce his second name, but I think he used to be at Derby, then he went to Udinese, and as far as I know, he's at Watford now, and he's in the squad. He got no game time, so I think he should be worth a punt. I'm surprised actually Troy Parrott didn't come on in the 2 games, Paul. You know, he's young. He's not a young player. He's out there in age at Alkmaar in Holland. I suppose he didn't get any minutes. And if you all the other attacking players got minutes, Adam Ida, Evan Ferguson. Yeah, there was only 3 strikers that came out in the end of the game. We were pushing for the equaliser, and we got caught in the break. But no, look, Irish football's on a big downer. It's getting worse before it gets better, I'm afraid. But whether we can, you know, make ourselves competitive these last 4 games though is a big doubt, because we're 2 away games. As I said before, I keep repeating myself, we haven't won a game away in the Nations League. I think the best we can offer is probably 2 draws, and at best of that, Paul, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah, I suppose he's, in a way you can understand he'll say that he has to try and keep combinations together. But if a player is not motivated, and I don't care how many, like if a fella's playing the Premiership, he's on a good salary, he might be just coming over to Ireland. I'm not going to name out an individual player, but if inside the dressing room, no, I don't care what level you're at, or what grade, or what sport you're in. If you're not motivated to give up 100%, it doesn't matter your ability or your experience. You're better off to have a young, hungry, raw fella starting off who will at least run around with motivation. Because that's at least something. But any players who just say they have a technical ability, but they're not motivated because things are going bad, they are no good to you. And that only increases the rot, to use the term, you know what? So I don't know, it's not an easy place, but, and you want to look, look, I'm not going to, the manager has only 2 games played, I'm not going to be shouting for his head straight away, because that's just crazy stuff. But you just look at the way, even that he's passing I won't say passing the buck, but John O'Shea is picking the team. Ultimately, the manager, he's the fella getting the salary, he's the name, he should be the one up front doing all them things as well, sir. He should be dictating what's played, sir. People say he didn't know the players. Jesus knows you. Years ago, maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you'd have to physically go. But now every match is televised. In every Premiership, in the Championship, in the 3rd division, even in the bloody 4th division. The Irish players abroad, they're all televised. You can get you can get the clips. Do you know what I mean, sir? So you can do your research without actually going around to maybe like 30, 40 years ago, where you had to actually physically travel to the stadium or travel to the club. So it's hard to buy that as well, sir. So I just don't know, but there's no easy answer to say that. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just on the point you're making there, maybe passing the buck. You know, a lot of people have picked up on that, and I think even in the press conference earlier in the week, even before the press conference of the one that was mentioned earlier on before the game, you know, John O'Shea was asked, you know, are the players confused with who's in charge? Because obviously John O'Shea had a heavy input into, you know, what went on in the last couple of games, because he wanted the continuity, he wanted to keep John O'Shea and I think it's Paddy McCarthy, the other assistant, and people were saying, well, who's really in charge? And John O'Shea said, look, the boss is the boss. And I think even Brian Kerr, the ex-Ireland manager, said, look, after these 2 games, he needs to go on the training pitch and needs to show who's boss, and particularly goals from outside the area, Paul. That is something we need to clamp down on big time now. I think I find it hard to believe, but there's numerous goals that we conceded now since 2021 from outside the area, under Kinney, even under O'Shea himself in the brief spell he had. And that has to be drilled in to the players. You know, we have to stop this. We have, like, if you saw the goals, the first goal, Dayton Collins, I think it's on the Daily. Go back. Like, I think even Glenn Whelan said on television last night, you know, you got to get to where the danger is, block him down. And There was this thing lately, Paul, that's happening in football, international football and club football, where you've got the players put their hands behind their back because they're afraid of giving away a penalty. But there's no fear of giving away a penalty in this situation because the ball is being struck from outside the box. There's no need to go back. Just go forward. There's no need to drop off because this thing of the fear, I got to go back because we're under siege here. No need to that. Go and close them down. And that seems to be a trait that seems to be in the Irish team over the last 3 years, and it's a bad habit they're getting into, and they need to get out of it. I think in the next time they're training, I remember Richard Dunn was saying about Trapattoni, where it was repetition on set pieces. They would do the same drill over and over. Everybody knew where they were supposed to be for corner kicks, free kicks against them, and it always got, like, I think Richard Dunn said, it always got boring. That's something that's going to happen with the next training sessions that we have. Repetition where it gets almost where it's instinctive, where they know exactly what they should know what they have to do. But when the man is on the edge of the box, you got to close them down. But it has to be drilled into them now in the next couple of training sessions in particular, because this is getting out of hand. The long range shots and the goals we're conceding in nearly every game now, we're conceding the goal from outside the box. And it should be hard for a player to score from outside the box because it's not exactly if it's a tap in or anything like that. It has to be, you have to have a good shot. I mean, the goal that he scored was a fantastic shot, fantastic goal that he scored, but it was too easy. He had space, he had time. Keller had no real chance. It was right in the top corner. A beautiful goal when you look back on it, but it was too easy for him to get the shot off. No pressure. And it's something that has to be clamped down on, Paul. If it happens again now in the game against Finland, then obviously what the hell are they doing on the training pitch? What are they doing on the patch and on pitch themselves? Communication. When there's danger, close it down. Get a block in. Get it out for a corner. Just don't let them have a free shot and score because it's a complete mess now at the back now when that's happening. And it's happening again and again. And they know it's happening, but they can't seem to put it right.
Yeah, I suppose, no, just to finish up, if we could be going around the houses and repeating ourselves, but final question, do you think he should bring in some of the younger players from the 21s, or maybe some other younger players who are not just on the squad yet, and maybe even drop down a division in England? As the saying goes, I would rather have a young, raw fella with a good attitude and a good motivation than a fella maybe who's thinking that he can just turn up and get his game and come on as a sub. Or what do you think? Final comment.
I would leave the 21s as there. I think unfortunately they drew 2 out of Latvia, very poor results. 2 points dropped, and I think now for automatic qualification they have to hopefully beat Norway, and then they'll have to go to Italy away and win. So chances are they're probably the best they can get for a second. But if they win against Norway at home, they'll set up for the last game against Italy, and hopefully they'll be. I think Italy have a game extra played in them, so that'll be Italy's last game. If Ireland win their game against Norway, I think they'll only be 2 points in it, if I'm not mistaken. I must have a look at the table again. But if they beat Italy, they'll qualify automatically. So there's still hope there they can get there. So I would leave 21s as they are. I wouldn't, because they have an actual real chance of going to the European Championships, and if the few players were taken out of that squad, then that will hamper their chances big time.